Hey guys, Besa Gordon here. So it is another episode of Rewind with Besa, and yes, I am back at the studio. I know, like I said before, I took a little break, but we all need little breaks. It's important, all right? So this week I have Frager with me, and he literally works with so many athletes out here, whether it's a Seahawk athlete or a UW athlete. People that are doing things that you are seeing on TV that you actually care about and you're following on social media. He works with them and he gets them their brand deals. And also, I had him on this month's Real Seattle Media Mixer, which lets you know that he's actually important because y'all know I'm mad picky. So look, we're going to jump into our intro, and once we come back, we are bringing in Key.
Hey, Besa, what's up? What's up? How you doing?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great, especially after that mixer that we had a chance to be on. So super excited about that one.
Definitely my favorite mixer to date. I mean, I think before date, my favorite mixer was my first one. Obviously,
Yeah.
Why? But this one, favorite to date.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, it was a vibe from everybody, from the museum, obviously the hip hop museum with the artists. It was if you wasn't there, you missed out. Honestly,
You missed out on some good
Honestly.
things. What do you think about this one compared to the one in November? Because the one in November was at Sugar Hill, which was
Yeah.
still great, but it was different.
I love Sugar Hill vibe too.
The
You
food
know what I
was
mean?
fire.
Yeah, the food was fire. That's the difference right there. We didn't have no food. We didn't have no food,
The
but
food was
other than that,
fire.
I feel like it was a bigger space. You know what I mean? So, and like the ambiance of the building was just perfect. The lighting, how we looked on the stage and everything. It was just a vibe. So
That was such a moment, and it honestly became what I wanted it to be. Like, you ever see something
For
when you're just
sure.
at home and you have to envision what you want, and you
For sure.
see it, and maybe you get a little teary eyed. I always do, but it's like, this is what I want it to be, and you get there and it's like, that's what it is. And so I'm definitely very happy that you were able to actually be a part of that moment for me.
yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate it for you even asking me to get on there. You know
Heck
what I mean? Like
yeah.
I took that and was like, oh, absolutely, I ain't turning this down.
Who
So.
else would have been the branding specialist on a panel like
For
that?
for sure, absolutely.
I mean, there's other options, but
There we go. I'll take that.
it makes sense.
Right.
So, look, one of the reasons why I ended up having you on my panel is, like I said, you work in a lot of branding. You work with different artists, not even artists, but athletes,
Yeah.
which is different.
Yeah.
In radio, I work with different management that works with artists, whether they're on
Yeah.
Rock Nation, Columbia, Universal, whatever.
Right.
You work with the athletes,
The
okay?
athletes, yeah.
So, let's bring it back.
Yeah, for sure.
What made Key be like, yo, I want to work with athletes and I want to get them popping. I want to get them money. I want to get them brand deals, because at that point, you can do it for yourself.
For sure.
And if you are doing it for yourself
Sure.
now, that's fine.
Yep.
But you're doing it for yourself and other people. So
Yeah,
how did you get
absolutely.
to that point?
Just to take it all the way back, I think when I started working with the Washington Wizards, that's like my first time getting into the game. Like, that was my first opportunity to work in sports. I always knew I wanted to work in sports. As soon as I got that opportunity, COVID happened. And as you know, COVID took away a lot of opportunities from a lot of different people. And they told me I could get my job back, but I was like, man, this too much for me. I was like, I need to figure this out. One thing I did know is that I'm very connected with a lot of different athletes from the DC, Maryland area. That's where I'm from. You know what I mean? So I was super connected there, and I was like, I noticed how a lot of athletes have agencies, but they don't do marketing at all. A lot of agencies say they do marketing, but they don't.
But they don't really do
You'll
it.
be surprised at how many athletes don't have a logo, not doing no type of commercials, not doing no brand partnerships. And as big as the influence of comedy now, if you're not doing it as an athlete, you really just wasting time. You just being an athlete when you should be thinking being more than an athlete, which LeBron James say, more than an athlete. You
No,
gotta start thinking
period.
about that. So
We do more than dribble.
absolutely. You know what I mean? So I reached out to Daryl Taylor of the Seattle Seahawks. He was my first client ever. I DM'd him and was like, look, I was like, you should try this smoothie shop in Seattle. It's called Emerald City Smoothie.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to go try. He hit me back. I wouldn't even know he was gonna hit me back, but he did. He was like,
So he checked it out.
he
and
checked
really
it out
like...
and was like, you know what I mean? He went to go get some, and he was like, you know what, I like it. And he was like, bro, how? He was like, what's up? Like, what else do you do?
Yeah.
And from there, I was already pitching Emerald City Smoothie. Like, hey, I got this guy. He just got drafted to Seattle. How can we get him a brand partnership deal where he create his own smoothie, put on the menu? Because one thing I didn't know is that Seattle people love their Seahawks. So I was like, this is an opportunity. They love their Seahawks.
Look, we love our sports, but
Yeah.
if there's one thing that we die for, it is the fucking Seahawks.
Absolutely. And that was my first opportunity, my first deal. That was like my first foot in the door, and I had to figure everything else out. But
and this is when you first moved.
That's when I first moved here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I was like, all right. I gotta figure this thing out. I'm in a new city, but I think being in a new city always put a little bit grind in you a little bit, because you're not from here. You don't know. You can always go back home. You don't got enough time. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, listen. I was like, if this pop off, I'm good. All I gotta get is one athlete. Once I got one, you do good. Obviously, your work gotta prove. You know what I mean? Gotta show for itself. But once I got in that locker room a little bit, more people started recognizing what I was doing. I just started putting myself in different little positions to talk more and speak more. And from there, once you build your own seat, you can put it to a table, and then people gonna be like, hey, we need you, Key. You know what I mean? So that's all I want. I want people to call and be like, hey, we need something done. We're gonna call Key.
Exactly who to call.
For sure.
So let me ask you this. Obviously, if you're not from Seattle, you were doing these things before you came to Seattle.
Yeah.
How did you fully get emerged into creating brands for others? Because, you're saying athletes, they need logos.
For sure.
I mean, to me, when sometimes people say logos, it's like, well, what does your logo encompass? Is it your name written in nice letters?
Yeah.
Obviously, what I'm saying is, it takes a lot to create a brand.
Oh,
so
for sure.
How did you even get to wanting to do that with other athletes? Because you didn't just decide to do that when you got to Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I said, I always looked at it. Like I said, I just seen guys that I knew and I played with that didn't have none of this type of stuff. And they always say they wanted to do it. Everybody will want to have a commercial with a Sprite or do something like that. But you can't jump the gun and go straight to getting a deal with Sprite without working on your personal brand. And I was like, we're going to sit down. We're going to do a brand audit. We're going to look at what you have. Everybody has a different look. Everybody has their own story. And what I try to do is figure out everybody's story from I simply take everything that you have and just put it all on the table and be like, okay, this is what he have. This is what he look like. This is body type. This is her body type, because I work with women as well. Shout out to the women athletes, because I feel like a lot of women athletes don't get as much love, and so that's why.
You see what they did to Brittany Griner.
Exactly.
Sis had to cut off her locks before she came back to the States.
From them not getting paid enough and anything, I feel like it's a whole.
That's true.
That's an opportunity for me to come in and kind of switch that up. So, yeah. But like I said, I just look at people's story and I go from there. You know what I mean? So we gotta build your story, build your name before we get anything done. You know what I mean? Unless you already have that name.
Yeah. And
I just could push it some more. But that's it.
So let me ask you this. Coming to Seattle, working with your first athletes,
what
would you say was the first thing that you noticed about Seattle that was different than D.C.?
Ooh, great question. The first thing I noticed was it is a lot of black people here.
There are, right?
A lot of people think it's not. Everybody spread out. I always say that. But it's a lot of dope black people here, too, that do a lot of great things that I feel like everywhere I've been, you know what I mean, you have here Seattle, you're here for a reason, I feel like, you know what I mean? And you're doing something dope, whether you work in tech or you got your own company, you're doing something. You know what I mean? And you don't really see that everywhere, you know what I mean, until I got here. Yeah, for real, honestly.
And I'm not even going to hold you. I haven't traveled a lot, so I'm now moving around a little bit more, and Seattle's really all that I know. And when Kinsey, she and I were talking about man, you got a homegirl that has a theater and you have someone else that has this. And she was like, I feel like there's so many dope people in Seattle that are doing stuff. I was like, girl, I feel like you got to do something dope in Seattle if you're black.
Yeah, for sure.
It's expensive.
For sure, 100%. And the first thing but one of the other things I noticed was that this is an untapped market, I feel like.
Period.
It's a lot of opportunities here that you can come out here and create, which obviously, I'm out here and I was like, I'm been here for a year and a half now, and I don't plan on leaving yet because I'm like, it's so many people that I'm meeting, so many people I'm connecting with. I was like, it's things that you could bring here and make this a popping city. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's a beautiful city, especially in the summertime. You know what I mean? Which a lot of people don't get to see. Everybody think it rain a lot, which
summer
it don't
is
rain
nice.
as much as people think. So I'm like, if you get an opportunity to come out here, come in the summertime. But like I said, I'm just trying to help and talk to other people to think about like, hey, come to Seattle. If you got if you're a restaurant owner, come to Seattle. There's money out here to be made. So get out here. So.
Do you feel like in Seattle with people being like, oh, there's not a lot of black people, there's not this, that you had to market your athletes any differently than you would in DC?
No, not at all. I feel like the athletes, I look at it like this, the athletes is like my pitch alone, especially if you got a good athlete and somebody that got a good brand, a good image. It's easy. That's half of the work right there. Now it's just me coming up with the ideas on how we could work together. And a lot of companies here, you know what I mean, they don't know nobody else that do that here. Like I haven't met nobody else here in Seattle that do what I do. Nobody.
Wow. So let me get this straight. Pause. Rewind. How y'all doing? So what you're saying is you are like potentially the only sports brand manager that really works and grinds and get these sports people their brands.
For sure. Here in Seattle, yeah, absolutely. It's nobody. And I tried looking for other people that do, you know what I mean, do this, but everybody I talk to, they be like, hey, you the first person, because everybody here, you know, they ask, hey, what do you do? What do you do? When I start telling them what I do, they automatically assume I'm in tech. Which I'm like, no, I'm not in tech, and I tell them what I do, and everybody thought that. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you're not from Seattle, and you're black, and you're not somewhat in sports,
it's like, what are you doing here? Exactly. You know what I mean? So,
yes. Why are you here?
And there's nobody like.
And you don't work at Amazon, nope. Microsoft, like so. So how did this happen?
Yeah, there's nobody else here.
And usually, it's like you might still work at Microsoft or Amazon, and then still do that.
For sure.
Like that's typically what it is. Like people's like typical baseline is like tech, and then outside of the tech, it's like, oh, I do sports management or da 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 da.
Yeah, no, we just been grinding this thing out. Like I said, once I left the Wizards, I was like, this what I'm doing, and then I found other ways. Again, I had to learn from other people. I'm not scared to ask questions. I'm reaching out to people that's been in the game longer than me and be like, hey, what should my contract look like? I didn't even know what my contract was supposed to look like when I first started. I jumped out there and was like,
I'm
look,
here.
Listen, I'm here. I was about to build this seat. Then once you get at that table, I mean, like I said, you can figure everything else out. You know what I mean? So everybody got a journey. So that's how I look at it. Like you're gonna have to figure some things out on the way. You know.
So would you say that you learned most of everything just in trial and error?
Oh, absolutely.
Rather than like schooling.
Oh yeah, trial and error. I didn't need school to get into this. You know what I mean? It's really connections. Are you making genuine relationships? I don't just make relationships. Everybody said they make relationships, but like.
So did you go to college?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, but not for this.
No, I went for marketing, and I was like, I always wanted to work in sports, and I was like, once I got the opportunity to work in sports, I worked with the NBA teams, and I was like, this cool. But once the COVID thing happened, I was like, nah.
Let me figure this out.
I gotta figure something else out because I also seen the trajectory from coming from working in sports. It's only like you can't get that far in it. You know what I mean? You might get the little, you know, chief CEO or CMO, but that's really it. You know what I mean? Marketing director, but I was like, nah, it's something, my purpose.
That's not what I want to do.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. And COVID kind of helped me see that a little bit.
Well, and it's like, even with COVID, the athletes still had games to play.
Yeah.
You know, they still had seasons to finish. Just because we weren't out going to the different games and going to the different like shows or whatever, like they still had things to do, which means that at some point they still had brands that needed to be sold to where those brands could still have those commercials. So people like yourself were still needed.
Exactly, and honestly, it forced a lot of people to sit down too. You know what I mean? So. Like a lot of the athletes had to stop playing. Their seasons got canceled. All the college kids, all the high school kids that had championships games couldn't play. You know what I mean? So. Especially like some of the NBA guys, they had to sit out because of COVID. And I looked at it like, if you don't have a brand or you're not working towards something else outside of just your sport, you kind of like lost. You know what I mean? You gotta figure that part out on how I'm gonna make more money off the court, off the field. Because football players after the NFL season, after the Seahawks season, for some of the Seahawks guys,
they're
not making no more money. They make money off of their brand partnerships. Now, if you don't got branding, mind you, like I said, a lot of athletes don't have branding, so. Hopefully they save some money.
Marshawn Lynch, what people said is that he didn't have to use any of his NFL money. He used all his branding money and saved the rest of that money for whenever he actually wants to use it. Exactly. But that means he had someone like yourself to make sure that he had that branding.
Exactly. Your team is the most important. A lot of guys, you know what I mean, a lot of women too, you know what I mean, don't have that team around them. Some people come for the wrong reason, some come for just trying to get money, but you know what I mean, you got to really build your team out so that you have somebody that's that can work that job for you. If you're an athlete, your time is very, very limited. You know what I mean? You working out, you trying to do good at games. You're not trying to be thinking about, my marketing. And then, like I said, with some of these agencies, they don't do it, even though they say they do. Which, like I said, again, people like myself and others, that's been in the game for a long time, come in and get these athletes to start thinking a little bit different.
That's fair. So, okay. While we were at the mixer, because we were talking about this a little bit earlier, Jonathan Batista pulled up on you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was not ready. First of all, I didn't know that Jonathan Batista was going to be there. And when he pulled up, I lost my canispas. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing
here? Yeah, it was the energy.
And then when he came up, he said, so will you work with me? I was like.
Yeah. He didn't play no games. He was like, look, man, I got a budget and everything.
He said, I got money for you. What's up?
He said, I got money and I got, he was like, look, let me take your number down. He texted me while we was at the event. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people say, let's connect.
Wait.
And then you don't hear from him for a week or two. And then it's like, whatever. You know what I mean? But he was on it and was like, look, I'm serious. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to get on. I heard you speak and I'm like, this is what I need. And I respect that. You know what I mean? That's like somebody that's trying to get stuff done. You know what I mean? Not wasting no time. So I respect that 100%.
So have you ever worked with a dancer before? Because, dancers are still, I don't know if you've seen Jonathan Batista in his ballet.
I checked him.
But there was there's a photo that I took at McCall Hall. And you can see where he was I don't know what the stretch is, but it's where the legs go this way. And I was like, look at the muscles. You better go, Jonathan. So have you worked with a ballet dancer or any dancers before?
Yeah, no. So what makes my job fun is a lot of people think I just could work in sports. I'm like, nah, I could work with music artists. I could work with other sports as well. You know what I mean? Dancers, whatever. Everybody has a specific brand. So really, my title, I got 3 different names. I got from sports marketing agent, brand manager, brand consultant. You know what I mean? So I feel like me working with a dancer, I can still look at his brand, and I seen it. You know what I mean? He got some good content. He got a lot of followers. You know what I mean? So it's which counts, and he has a story too. You know what I mean? He's different in his own way. So it's that's an opportunity for me to tap into something that I never really tapped into yet. Because like I said, I'm still growing as a person too. You know what I mean? My brand, my personal brand. So I don't want to just be known as, hey, key work with the athletes. No, key work with everybody.
Period.
You know what I mean? So yeah, working with a dancer, I feel like that's gonna be a cool task to work on.
What would you say are the top 3 things that Key looks for when bringing on a new client?
That's a great question right there.
Because I know people are gonna. Obviously,
people come up.
Jonathan pulled up on you.
Yeah.
He was like,
yeah,
I need you in my life. So what are the things that you look for?
A lot of things I look at is just the image. You know, the image. I feel like that's super important. I feel people don't think about that. Your image is everything. How you look in certain rooms, how you dress. You can make some money off of that, just how you look. You know what I mean? Alone. So I look at people's image, how they look on social media. Plays a big part. Are they making content? Are they, engaging with their fans? And then I look at room where I could anything that they haven't done, how can I really help them out and take it to a whole nother level? And that's the first 3 things I look at. You know what I mean? I got to see your image, but the image is the most important thing for me because I'm if you on social media and you doing things that you really not supposed to be doing, or you saying certain things,
you're not even trying on your
own.
It's
I'm not trying to make my job harder. At first, when I first started out, I used to try to get a lot of clients at first. I'm just about to try to get a lot of clients. Again, I was new in the game trying to figure everything out, and I'm I don't need a lot of clients. I just need the right ones. You know what I mean? To make my job easier. I'm trying to make my job easy as possible by working with people that's easy to work with. If I don't like you as a person, I'm not gonna work with you. You know what I mean? I gotta respect you as a person. I respect each other. We respect each other's time. And like I said, if you willing to work, I'm gonna work with you. If you're not willing to work, we can't work together at all because then it's gonna be a lot of dead ends and a lot of miscommunication, which I hate.
And things not getting done that people said they were going to do. And you're just
For sure.
no, I I done sat on this phone for an hour.
That's the first way. That's the first.
Talking to people.
Yeah, that's the best way to be like, for me to be like, you know what? Nah, I don't think we should work with each other. Like I done it. I had to do that before, where I was like, look, we can't work with each other because, you know, you ain't serious, or you know, man, I don't like the miscommunication part. You know, if we gotta communicate. I'm damn near your best friend. You know what I mean? So at this point, so it's like we gotta communicate on a lot of different things. You know what I mean? If you're not ready for that part, then yeah, no, we can't work. So
now, for those that don't know, locally, who do you currently work with?
Oh yeah, so I had a chance to work with. Well, I work with Daryl Taylor, obviously Seahawks guy. Tariq Woolen, another Seahawks guy that been having a great year. I had a chance to work with Infamous Casey. You know, she's a big influencer here in the Seattle area. Imani Bush, volleyball player at UW. You know, she's killing it. And I just got a partnership with UW actually to work with some of their football players and basketball players at the same time. So, and Cam Tyson, Seattle U, he like one of the leading scorers in the country right now. So, them my current clients right now.
Now, you know I have to ask.
Absolutely.
Because me and my good friend JC over here, we're always at AEW stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been in contact with any wrestlers? We got a lot of locals.
Listen, I haven't had a chance to, you know, I'm still tapped into everything, you know, but I haven't had a chance to work with any wrestlers at all. Like I did boxing, you know, which was fun. Wrestling, I feel like that could be fun too, because that's a big brand, you know what I mean, in the wrestling, you know what I mean. So I would love to though. Just gotta wait for it, you know what I mean. Like I said, it gotta make sense, and the opportunity gotta, you know, once it presents itself, it's like, what we gonna do? How can we work with each other? But like I said, I feel like I work with anybody, you know.
So if somebody wanted to get into branding, what would be like the first thing that you would tell them to look into, or even research? Yeah,
I was about to say the first thing you should do, because I had to do it for myself, is do some research of your own. Like, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people be trying to skip steps. And we talked about this earlier too. Like a lot of people be trying to skip steps when you can't. You know what I mean? You can't get the A to Z without going through B, C, D. You know what I mean? So like, you know, obviously doing your research, but then also finding people that done it, do the same thing that you're trying to do. Reach out. You can't be scared to talk to anybody. Like a lot of people wouldn't know this, but I used to be very like laid back, chill. I still am to a certain extent.
I mean,
but like, yeah, but you know what I mean. I had to like, yeah, but I had to like,
when you need to,
exactly. I pop it when I need to, but like, you know, I used to be very chill. So it's like me doing what I'm doing now. It's like I gotta speak to people every day. You know, so not being scared to reach out. Even if the people don't reply, or they be like, nah, I can't help you. You still got to reach out and find people that do what you do so that you can get some of their game and then kind of, you know, mix it with yours a little bit. So
I love that. Now, for people that don't remember, you were on my mixer panel because of everything we talked about today.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say, and not even to put myself on blast, could make a mixer like that do better, or that we should continue doing for people to get more information out of? Because I definitely do a different topic every time.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that too. You do different topics, which a lot of people don't. They either keep it the same or, you know what I mean, like it kind of get played out.
It's a little stale.
Yeah, it gets stale, you know what I mean? So I think it would have made it better. Obviously, we would have had some food. Food would have been good.
Food would have been great, but not the museum.
Yeah, not the museum, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, it's really hard to judge that right there. I'm not gonna be honest, 'cause that was like something that I looked at and was like, wow, it's that time. You know what I mean? We all our faces on the screen, like it's people there. The art exhibit in the back went crazy. Like I said, if you haven't went, that's crazy. You know what I mean? But like it was a whole entire vibe. You know, I feel like the only thing that could been better there was like getting some food in there.
You know what? I'll take that.
Yeah, because
if the only thing that was missing was actual dinner, so we didn't have to go somewhere else after,
for sure,
I'll take that.
Yeah,
I will take that.
Listen, and that probably would have brought more people out, even though it was sold out. Like it would have probably more people, but listen, that's it though.
I'll take that. Okay, so is there anything that you do currently to keep you up to date in branding?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Or is it just more research?
It's a lot of research. I feel like it's research every day, but I do a lot of different, like, I'm on Google all the time. You know, I'm on Google, TikTok. I'm figuring out new trends. I'm figuring out what's popping right now, what's not. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you could use that to your advantage when you figure out, okay, this is kind of about to get played out. How can you help this situation? So I just kind of like try to stay up to date on like ad week. You know what I mean? I'm on there heavy.
Ad week.
Yeah, yep. Ad week. Yeah, it tell you everything about advertising, what's going on, you know what I mean, in today's time. You know what I mean? And I kind of get some ideas from that.
I'll have to do some quick Google.
I find I find new companies. I find new companies from that. So it's like, because I'm always looking for companies to work with. So it's like, on there, they've got new. If they highlight a new, they got all the tea, the real tea. When it comes to business and advertising, all the companies on there. It's stuff on Amazon, on Microsoft. Microsoft got new products all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like I look at all that just to stay up to date and figure out like, okay, ooh, if I was to work with them, how can we work? Or like, what idea, what campaign idea can I put together, present to them, and be like, hey, we should do this. Would I want to do it? Yes or no? Some say yes. Some say. We don't have the budget right now, or some say, no, we not focusing on athletes right now. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Who would have known? All right, well,
that's the real tea.
and he definitely was like, y'all want the sauce tonight.
The sauce. They wanted everything.
I'm like, y'all gotta pay for some of this shoot. We gonna see what we can get you.
Exactly.
Okay, we're gonna do 6 rounds with Besa where I get all in your business.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Yeah.
How did you figure out what worked best for you on TikTok?
Ooh.
Because you stay on my FUP page.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? On TikTok, I had to figure it out. It did a lot of like just looking and again research on what
research.
A lot of research on like, okay, what sounds are people using? You know what I mean? What type of content?
Do you use apps for that?
No.
I
get on TikTok and I scroll. And if I keep hearing it, I'm like, oh, this is a popular sound. And I save it.
Like, you're like, okay, I've heard this like 5 times in an hour. So obviously this sound is doing it. I
save it. Okay. You know what I mean? I save it. And then I'm like, all right, I'll use it later. You know what I mean? For something else. And then like, I also try to figure out my audience. I feel like my audience on TikTok is like 94% women.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, so
but
it's
you
like,
did that shit on purpose.
It's like, listen, I didn't.
Have you know what's
crazy?
TikTok?
You know what's crazy? I did not, listen, I did not try to do that until one. Look, I'm not even gonna put them on the spot, but somebody I know that we all know that's in Seattle was like, look, kid, you need to make a video like this because it was a trend. Mm-hmm. I posted it and it went viral a little bit. And then I was like, all right, that's where a lot of women just came and was like, following me, right? So I was like, I got 94%.
They was women. Like, we got black men out here.
Yeah,
hold on.
Exactly, 94% women. And I was like, all right, I still got to cater to that a little bit. So it's like if I say little videos about like, you know, what I'm looking for, or like they eat that up. But if I talk about branding all the time, they don't want to. They don't want to hear that.
Boring.
Some people listen. I posted a video. It was some real stuff about how, and we can get onto that later. It's a long topic, but I posted a video and they was like, listen, I ain't even hear nothing you said. Let me go back and watch the video. I said, you see what I'm talking about? I'm like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? But it's like I got to cater to that a little bit to keep them. It's keep them, you know, to keep them going a little bit, you know what I mean? And then mix in like, okay, what I do for work and stuff. Because they still want to see it. But like I said, 94% women, I can't do nothing about it. It's not like I was like, hey, I need 50% men and 50% women. Like, nah, that just happened.
It just is what it is.
Yeah. You can't control
TikTok. So what was the post?
You said what was the post?
What was the post?
The first post was just like what's my name, where I'm from, where I currently live at, and it was on a trending sound.
I saw that one.
And that was the one that went crazy. They was like, Seattle, what? You in Seattle? That's what are you doing in Seattle?
I'm like, the thing with Seattle is, you know, people just, I don't know, like, maybe it's because when you search Seattle on Instagram and on TikTok, the first thing you see are like blonde-haired white women. People don't assume that we have black people here.
Sure.
Not even just black women, black people. Like the assumption is that we are just nowhere to be seen. And then someone like yourself shows up, you have a deep voice, you look good, you're talking about branding, you're talking about what you want. Girls are like, oh, wait a minute.
They're like, hold on, it is something in Seattle. Hold on.
Let me take a left here.
Right.
I wasn't going to move there, but maybe.
Right.
And it's just a thing that people don't really see here a lot. And, you know, Mark, he's been here a couple times. And you met Mark Handsome.
Yeah.
The last couple times that he's been here, he's been, like, on the go.
Right.
So the first time that he actually seen a lot of black people together in one spot, you know, talking and mixing and mingling and not being weird or no, like, Seattle Freeze was at the mixer.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you go viral and all the black women are like, follow.
Listen, the dumbest stuff go viral though. That's the crazy part. It's like some stuff I be wanting. I'm like, all right, this gonna be a good video.
Yeah.
that thing do not do nothing. You know what I mean? It do all right, but they don't do like how the videos where you like,
period.
I ain't put nothing. I just put it out there and that thing just got 260K views on there or likes, whatever. I'm like, sheesh.
But I think that's the difference between TikTok and Instagram. Like Instagram does well with something that's curated.
For sure.
Something that you planned. Something
For
where
sure.
you're like, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to stand there. I need the lighting like this. I need the audio like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I need this angle. But TikTok, you'll have a video with 1 million views and you could be a black chick in your bed with your bonnet.
For real.
Like, people like the natural.
The natural,
it's
real
like,
natural.
girl, I felt like that yesterday when I woke up too. What's up?
When you're authentic, I feel like that's the stuff that really do real good. Like a lot of people, I feel like on TikTok express themselves more. You know what I mean? On TikTok than
and it's
IG.
like you feel free over there.
You feel free for sure. And when you do, you know what I mean, when you do express yourself, like it's a lot of women on there that talk about heartbreak and all these different topics. And that do crazy.
Crying.
You know what I mean? Be crying on there. You know what I mean? Some dudes too. You know what I mean? But it's like it work for them. It's like an outlet for them. And then like so you reach a whole nother audience that you didn't even know you had like in this world. You know what I mean? So
did you ever feel like when you first started posting on TikTok that it was a whole new world? Like for me, when I first started posting on TikTok, I didn't mind posting things on there that I would never post on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I would never post on Instagram because
Yeah.
I knew that the audience there,
for sure.
they didn't know who Besa was.
For sure.
You don't know who I am. Some of
For sure.
y'all are in Africa. Some of you are in Canada. You're
Yeah.
like, y'all are all over the place. So you don't know
Yeah.
who I am. Like I can just be me and my introverted weird self that nobody gets to see but put it on Instagram
And they're gonna follow you.
or TikTok in this case.
Yeah. And they're gonna follow. No, I was the same way. Honestly, I was like, I don't know what I'm about to do with TikTok. I just made it because I know it was a new app. A lot of people saying it can blow up, you know what I mean? Which I see it now. I'm like, oh yeah, everybody need it. You know, if you got a company or you are an aspiring influencer or whatever, like you gotta be on TikTok a little bit. Because once you, and I'd say this, like once you get on live, you gotta have like 2,000 followers to go live on
That's what I heard.
TikTok, right? So you can't go live on TikTok without having that first. But once you go live on TikTok, it's way better than Instagram Live because now your audience is deep.
Give the
That's
tea
tea. That's real
on
tea.
TikTok Live because
Listen,
I think people
you get
don't
paid.
realize. First of all, that okay, those little hearts
get
and
paid.
stars
Listen,
and the little
you getting paid.
you get money for all of that, and people don't realize the difference between TikTok Live and even Instagram
Yeah.
Live. And even before I toss this to you, like with
Yeah.
TikTok Live, if you're live and you have a video that's trending,
It
that
hits your-
video is moving
Listen.
through the algorithm. And you got this little red ring
You
around
preaching
your
right now.
shift, and it says live, and people are like, "Well, what's that?" And then if you keep scrolling, you might see one more of their videos,
No, for sure.
maybe 2 more, and then eventually you're like, you know what? What's this live about?
Yeah.
And now this live has an additional view. You might have an additional follower because you can't follow when someone's live.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Like
You
have
can't follow once you live?
no, like
Oh,
it'll-
you gotta leave.
it's
Oh, you
just a
gotta go.
circle.
See, I never knew that.
So you have when you click it, it takes you right to the live.
Mm.
So that's like what's happening here? Moments of me just like trying to figure out what's going on, and how like one time I was live, I gained like 3,000 followers.
sure.
I was like, well, what happened?
For sure. No,
So
for
I
sure.
started noticing that aspect of the videos that are trending that TikTok already knows does well. Those go through the algorithm while you're live.
That's my little trick right there, though. Like, you just said it. Look, I would get on if I post a video.
So
I'm gonna
I'm
get on
not
live.
tripping.
No, you're not tripping at all. No, honestly, I get on there. It's way better than Instagram Live because IG.
Instagram Live sucks, and you can play music over there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's another thing. I definitely play music.
They cut me one day. I was in
Yeah.
here in the studio recording, doing my
Sheesh.
thing, and all of a sudden it was like, meow.
Yeah, IG Live, like I said, that's really accustomed to like your followers too. You know what I mean? So you can't really reach outside of that. You know what I mean? So with TikTok, you reaching everybody. There's people in India. There's people UK. You know what I mean? Just there, they watching you live. They like how you talk, or they like what you're talking about. And then, like I said, you post a new video, they gonna go straight to that video and then start scrolling down your page and looking and being like, "Hey, I actually like this person. Let me, you know what I mean, like their stuff and follow them." And then they could go to your IG and follow you on IG as well, which a lot of people do. So
And
it
IG
works
is
hand in
so
hand.
second to TikTok.
Oh, for sure.
Like when you're on there, it's like I have to really like you
For sure.
to want to go on your Instagram.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Like,
So-
you know what? I really rock with what you're doing. I'm not always on here a lot, but let me follow you on IG.
Man, I wasn't doing no one-on-one conversations. Like I wasn't doing like, you know how people do like consulting calls with one-on-one. I wasn't doing none of that until I posted a video about thinking about doing a workshop for like sports marketing. people started hitting me up and was like, "Hey, can we do a one-on-one call? I'll pay you this." I said, "What am I doing?" I said,
I know you
listen,
hit up that
I made a link.
It was like, wait a minute.
I made a link tree so fast. I said, "Hey, hold on, I need to get this together." You know what I mean? So I was like, "Nah." But seriously though, like I said, TikTok really kind of, obviously IG, played his hand, but TikTok really kind of like took it to a whole nother level. So like I said, if you're not on that, you sleeping.
Would you say that people need to at least get a certain amount of videos on their TikTok?
For sure. These get some.
Because people like TikTok to me is a little different than Instagram. Like with Instagram, you might have like 5 or 6 photos and someone will go to your page and they'll get it because they know you just posting your stories.
Yeah.
But on TikTok, I feel like I see a page, I like it, I go to the page, I want to scroll.
Oh, for sure.
I want to see what else you have.
People want to see what you're talking about too. Like I said, some people just be posting whatever. You know what I mean? So, but if you got some people that's actually like got a niche, that's on there talking about certain topics and stuff, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's cool. Let me follow this. You know what I mean? It's definitely been pages I looked at and was like, whether it was a fashion page, somebody getting dressed, and I'm like, hey, they putting some fists together that I like. I'm about to follow this. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna follow. Or if they just talking about some real stuff, you know what I mean? Some people, like I said, you got a niche for everything on there. You know what I mean? If you're going through a heartbreak, there's a whole side of TikTok for you, which I be getting tired. I'm like, why is this popping up with my stuff? But
first of all, your content makes sense for you to be over there.
Listen, I'll be trying to show up on there. I'm like, hold on, what's going on?
Your hashtags probably align with the heartbreak of life and, giving people some hope.
Probably, man. I don't know. I'll be trying to stay off it sometimes. I'll be like, it'd be too much.
Your algorithm pops you over there. I can see that. Bloop. So 6 Friends with Besa. Okay. Number 1. What is a restaurant in Seattle that you wish that we had, but it's only in DC?
Listen, I got a list. Hold on, a restaurant.
I gotta go one.
A restaurant in DC that I wish it was in Seattle.
Yes.
So it's just, man, listen, I got a whole list, but one thing I do wish we had is this place called Park at 14th, right, in DC. And if you know about Park at 14th, on a Sunday, I don't think Seattle people are ready for something like that, right? Where you can go to church, go to brunch, go to a day party and a nightclub all in one day.
Shut up!
I'm so serious. And all my DC people know. I don't think, and that would turn Seattle up. And I've been trying to talk to different restaurant owners. I'm like, look, you kind of need to come out here, find something. I can help. We're trying to find a spot. I know people that know people that know people. And I'm like, if you bring something like that out here, a lot of people gonna be like, hey, nah, we need this. Because I feel like what Seattle need is something that's not Seattle. I feel like a lot of people try to make like certain restaurants Seattle. That's cool. You know what I mean? But you still need a little taste of like the East Coast or like Houston. You know what I mean? Like Atlanta. You need them type of vibes out here. Because like I said, there's some black successful people out here that want to go do other things. A lot of people be in the house. So if Park at 14th was here in Seattle, I'm saying that it would be turned up. Because it's not like it's a ratchet vibe either. It's classy. You know what I mean? It is a little dress code a little bit, but again, you going from brunch. You got brunch vibes. You got your day party, and then you got your night all in one.
And I feel like Seattle is finally at a place where it's ready for that. You know what I mean? We
sure.
have more people like yourself here.
Sure.
We have Anthony Jr. We have Anthony Kerr. Hell, we have Besoya. Yeah. We have Nairam. Like, we have a lot of people that do great events, even
sure.
like myself, and where I just bring everybody into like one smush sandwich where like I got local and non-local. But you have these non-local people that are here now doing these events, bringing out people like yourself that are like, yo, where the black people at?
Sure.
I want to do nice things, I want to turn up. I might want hookah. I might not want hookah.
Right.
I just might want some chicken and waffles where I have on my Louis shoes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want my options.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And like I said, I feel like it's time for another city to step up. Everybody know the cities that you go to go, you want to go get lit. Oh, we're going to go to Houston. We're going to go to Atlanta. We're going to go to DC maybe. We're going to go to LA. You know what I mean? But it's like Charlotte's starting to get up there a little bit. You know what I mean? But it's like, where else? You know what I mean? Who's next? What city? And it's like, it just takes for people to kind of like put something together. And again, like Seattle, nobody really thinks about Seattle. Seattle's like one of them like spots. Because every time I meet somebody, they be like, you live in Seattle? What's out there? Life. They don't even know. They don't even know if you come out here, they see it. It's beautiful out here. You know what I mean? Cute. So if you see it, they can be like, oh, it's a vibe. You know what I mean? And then that's an opportunity for some business owner, restaurant owners to really step in and be like, hey, look, this is an untapped market. for you to make something and make it blow up out here. And then now you got all the tech people here. You got all the other people here that, you know what I mean? I feel like the restaurant like that would do great, you know what I mean, here.
So would you say that since you've moved here, by the way, this is number 2.
Yeah.
You have a different thought of Seattle?
For sure. I definitely, because because I visited Seattle like a while ago when Markelle Fultz, he played at University of Washington, #1 draft pick here from the DMV area, you know what I mean? And I watched him play out here. That was like my first time ever in Seattle. I want to say that was like 2018, I think. A little bit, yeah. Like, so I came and visited first time, and I was like, it was summertime too, and I was like, oh, it's beautiful out here. And then I was like, I'll be back out here, you know what I mean? Probably be back out here. And then when I finally decided to move, you know, because of the opportunity, you know, I started to look at it a little bit different. It was just like a peace of mind to me, you know what I mean? Especially coming from like the DC area, the DMV. I'm like, everybody need to get away from home at least once, you know what I mean?
At least once.
At least once. You can always go back home. I feel like home kind of keep people stagnant a little bit, you know what I mean? You could get real comfortable and not do nothing. Certain opportunities need you to leave home, you know what I mean? So when I got to Seattle, I was like, again, I seen it was an untapped market, but I also see how many people was here that do dope stuff. And a lot of people talk about that free stuff, but I met a lot of cool people that's like, this dope. You know what I mean?
We're
That's
normal.
nice. You know what I mean? That's nice. That's like, hey, bro, you do this. Oh, I know this. Or I know this person. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. That's like, are we going to connect? Like yourself. You know what I mean? You connected me with tons of people where you was just like, hey, Key does this. You know what I mean? Meet him and boom. You know what I mean? And then now I'm in the door with them. You know what I mean? So it's like, meeting people like that, you can't get that everywhere. You got certain cities that'll be like, nah, you know what I mean? Doors locked. Like, for example, yeah, no, for sure. People be locking doors, you know, but you gotta, like, so you gotta step out sometimes and go somewhere that you never thought you would be at. And you never know, this might be your home forever, or even if it's a one-time stop, you meeting some people that you can be connected to forever. So
no, absolutely. And for me, like, that's why I want to travel more. Like, I'm born and raised in Seattle. My mom's born and raised here. My dad's the one that's from Louisiana. So me, yeah. So I definitely want to experience more things. So I'm always curious about how people see Seattle versus other places.
Yeah.
So what is one thing you can do in Seattle that you can't do in DC?
One thing that you can do in Seattle that you can't do in DC, you can hiking out here. Listen, I never hiked before. I never hiked it before in my life, and like I said, I went to school in Kansas and everything. You know what I mean? So it's like I never hiked ever until I got out here.
Never even thought about it.
Never even thought about it. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, matter of fact, I lied. I thought about it a little bit, but I was like, in DC, it's like, where you go?
The option was
limited. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, when I came out here, I was like, I need to get with the Seattle people, see what they do. A lot of people mentioned hiking, you know, being outside. This is definitely an outside place.
It's an outside area, man. Like, you need the fresh air. And frankly, to have a good view, you got to pay a lot of money around here.
Yeah, for sure.
I definitely look into someone else's apartment.
But listen,
I have about 20 apartments directly in front of me.
Listen.
And I thought about moving, but I was like, you know what?
Listen.
No.
Exactly. I'm the same way though. I'm the same way. Listen, I'm like, I'd rather have a bigger space than just a view. Like, I'm cool off of that.
Me and my walk-in closet are okay.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, nah, we ain't doing that.
A full bathroom and a washer dryer. I'm not going anywhere.
But I say the hiking though. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that, you know what I mean, it's super different. It's definitely peaceful. You know what I mean? It's a lot, like I said, again, it's very beautiful out here, you know, especially when it's not raining. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's something that a lot of people will even witness. Like, when it's hot here, it feels good.
It does.
It feels good. Like, it's amazing.
Nice.
You know what I mean? DC, humid.
Now, I will say sometimes we could use a little more shade.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But when you do get it, though, it's like a perfect mix, though. It's not like it's too hot, I can't be outside. Except for that one time. Now, hold on. It was one time when I got here, it was like a heat wave, and I think, you know, Seattle apartments.
Was that last summer?
Yes. Seattle apartments don't have no air conditioning.
I put my freaking fan in my freezer. It was so hot.
Man, I seen people walking up the stairs with ice bags. I'm like, what they doing with that?
And then I get in my apartment. AC.
I went to my little thermostat, tried to turn on the air with no air. I said, nah. Luckily, I got my little room. I got like a ceiling fan in my room. I turned that thing on. It was like, all right, we gonna be all right, but let me get a fan because this is crazy.
This is not. Yeah, no. That's the thing about Seattle. You know, it's one of those cities where a lot of people used to buy cars that didn't have AC because we didn't need it.
Yeah, nah, that's dead.
And now it's like no, we need that. Like, so even in my apartment, like for this summer coming up, I have to figure out a way to like buy one of those portable air conditioners because I'm going to be here for like another year. Put that in the window in the living room. Put one in my room. I'm not playing with y'all. Man. We're going to just have to have two. But otherwise, a lot of our places, even ones that were built like 6 years ago, they don't have AC.
Yeah. Cause they say don't get to have it. Like I said, it's been moments where I was just like, nah, I like when my place have like a little breeze to it. You know what I mean? You can always get warm. you can always get warm.
Crank
you know what
that
I
up
mean?
to comfort zone.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, but nah, that's one thing that people, if you planning on moving to Seattle, just know you might have to buy air conditioning.
You probably will. That's not even a thing. What is one misconception of working with athletes?
Ooh, that's a great question. Even though this is true in a certain extent, a lot of people think you go to everything for free. You know, it's still things you gotta pay for. Even though it is a lot of opportunities and a lot of places you can be for free, which you get a lot of different things. You know what I mean? Because they know people that know people. Some of these guys got partnerships with airlines. You know what I mean? So you kind of get you get some of that. So
move around a little bit.
But yeah, I think that a lot of people think it's easy too. I don't know why.
What do they think is so easy about it?
Like a lot of people think, I'm just talking to you know what I mean, all these different companies, and the company's saying yes because they professional
because athletes. It's the athlete.
No. You know what I mean? Nah. Like if the athlete don't have a name or the athlete don't have no type of brand, you're not getting nothing, you know what I mean, done. But a lot of people think it's just that. You know what I mean? When them emails, them pitch decks, them calls, and them going to somebody establishment and like knocking on the door trying to get a conversation with some of these people, that's tough. A lot of people will fold, like honestly, because it's like you're gonna hear a lot of no's. I heard so many no's, but it's like you get closer to your yes too as well. But a lot of people think it's just sweet. Like, oh, okay. Oh, he just talking to companies about athletes. Oh, they making money. Nah, sometimes where I had to go without for a little minute and was like, let me figure this thing out.
Yeah.
Or do I need to get another job real quick? Like, no, but then again, you build your momentum up sometimes too. But again, I think a lot of people just think it's super easy because I work with professional athletes, which that don't mean anything.
Now, this is an additional question, but do you have advice to people that are trying to work through a no or just don't know how to work through those no's? I mean, obviously some no's are a no, but if you have the option of like kind of moving around it.
I think for people like that, you got to build some tough skin though, honestly. That's just life though, in general. You know what I mean? I feel like you're going to hear, and you probably heard no's before. You know, I think a lot of people don't know how to take a no. But you gotta take that no and kind of like learn from it and actually why they say no. Mm-hmm. That's what I try to do. If I heard a no, they'd be like, I'm not ready. Sometimes it's either they just not ready to work, which means that's not really a no. Because I'm always trying to switch to no. Even if you tell me no, I'm gonna come back probably like a couple months or a couple weeks later and be like,
let's try
how
this
about
again.
we do? You know what I mean? Let's try this again. You know what I mean? But like I said, really figuring out what was that reason I'm saying no, and then like again, just know that next yes gonna be there. You know what I mean? Don't give up. Cause like as soon as you done emailing or calling or pitching or whatever, and you be like, hey, everybody said nah, that yes, like right around the corner somewhere. You know what I mean? And it happened to me. I've seen it happen.
And when it comes, it feel good.
It didn't feel good. And you like, oh, I'm good. Now I got some motion. Now I'm about to get it back together. But, you know, I think a lot of people hear them no's. Like, even if you get them first 5 back to back, you still got to be like, all right, something else going to shake. You know what I mean? Because, again, it's a lot of people out here. It's a lot of companies out here. It's a lot of opportunities out here. You just got to keep going. That's it. So,
one misconception, in your opinion, of Black Seattle?
That everybody work in tech. That everybody work in tech. That's everybody. Listen, I went so many. I done went to so many spots. People automatically assume, oh, you must work. It's 2 things. You either work in tech or you in the military. Everybody asks me that, and they see a fade and be like, hey, you in the military?
You in the military?
Nah. Then I tell them what I'm doing. They be like, oh, what's that? Then I gotta explain what I do. So it's like, but a lot of them think tech though, and I'm like, you'd be surprised. I met a lot of dope people that's not in tech here. You know what I mean? That's just they out here. They got a company, or they just, you know, they doing something else. Even if it involves tech a little bit, because this is a tech world now. You know what I mean? But a lot of people just think, oh, you work with Microsoft or you Amazon. Like, nah, that's not the case. I've been places and rooms where I feel like I was the only person that don't
that don't work in tech.
And then I meet some other people that be like, yeah, I'm not in tech either. And I'm like, okay, it's not just me.
There's definitely a few day party crowds that will have you feeling like that out here.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
And I'm sure
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, damn, I'm the only person.
Damn.
I'm the oddball.
I'm the only creative.
It works in my favor though, because not everybody, you got to think about it, if you talking to people or dating people, whatever, and everybody asking, or do you work in tech? That's the tech world, a small world too.
But they be some of the most supportive ones though.
Facts.
Like
Facts.
one, they'll buy your stuff. They'll come to your events. Like they might be like, yo, I just work in tech. I'm trying to mind my business, but I want to be around black people. I want to support whatever you're doing. And a lot of them just aren't from here. So like they be so supportive. But yes.
Yeah.
We are sometimes the anomaly.
Yeah, exactly.
And then last question. One misconception of Key Frager.
That's a great question to end it right there. Hold on.
Ain't it? I have my moments.
Ooh, I gotta think about that one. Hold on. One misconception about me. Hold on. I think a lot of people be thinking that I'm like standoffish sometimes. I'm like, I don't even get that type of vibe. I heard that some people was like, I don't know, kid. If you look, I feel like if you look like a certain type of way or you carry yourself away like in a good way, some people be like, oh, he probably wouldn't talk to me when I talk to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm very like cool with a lot of different people from Larry. You can put me in a room with, you could be orange, green, light skin, dark skin. You can put me wherever, and I feel like I talk to people. Some people be scared to talk because they just feel like I'm gonna be like, oh no, I'm better than you or something. I'm like, that's not even me. And I heard that before. Like, you ask people like, what was your first like impression of me? And they be like, I used to think that you would be like real standoffish or like don't mess with me type of ass. I'm like, I don't give that up. I'm like, I don't get bougie.
No, you really don't. I mean, well, I don't know what. That's the thing. That's the thing about me being me. It's like I be trying to be like, I never got that from you. But then I'm like, you know what? Sometimes people can be like, well, people are nicer to you because it's you. But I'm like, that's just not the vibe that I automatically got from this person. I don't know.
I feel like I can vibe with everybody, you know what I mean? But I think people just think that I could be like, I don't know, standoffish or something. But I'm also very chill and observant too. So when I go to certain spots, I'm not like going to go just speak to everybody. I'm kind of like peeping the scene and seeing what's going on, and then, you know what I mean, going to talk to people. But I don't know. That's what I heard.
Would you consider yourself like an introvert extrovert then? Because that's what I am. People be like, oh, basically, you're extroverted. I'm really not. I truly like to sit in the corner, mind my business, and just watch people. Right, and watch but I'm not able to do that these days. Yeah. So I seem more extroverted than I really am.
I'm like right in the middle between both because, like I said, doing what I do for work, I gotta be, I gotta talk. You know what I mean? Like if I don't talk, I don't make no money. I don't connect with nobody. So it's like I gotta put myself out there more. Which this last year, I was like, I've been doing a lot of personal branding with myself and speaking more, talking more, trying to get on different things, platforms to talk, because I'm like, people actually want to hear what you say. People actually want to see what you do. When I first got in, I was like, I just like being behind the scenes. I don't want nobody to know. You know what I mean? I want to be that guy that people know, like, oh, the athlete just did this, but they don't know who did it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, nah, screw that. Because more opportunities come when you put yourself out there.
Period. Because then people like Jonathan Batista.
Exactly.
Hey, can I work with you?
Exactly.
Like that's a moment that you didn't even have to go to him.
And that probably would never happen.
He moved his way through the crowd
and said, look, here's my phone, everything. Like put your information. I'm texting you right after this. Like what's up? Like budget or everything.
And had you have just stayed in the crowd, not that he wouldn't have known that you were there. Like if you would have introduced yourself, he would have found you. But in that moment, he was able to get your own thoughts, your own expertise, and he was like, I can trust him with my brand.
For sure. And like I said, people can see that, you know what I mean, when you're being authentic, when you're being real, when it's genuine, you know what I mean? Like if you really know what you're talking about, because there be people that don't know what they're talking about, you know what I mean? But like putting myself out there was like the biggest thing that I had to do for me, because I'm like, if I want to grow some more, I got to, because I can't be stagnant, comfortable, like, oh, I done got closed a few deals, now I'm good. Nah. It's an ongoing thing every day, you know what I mean? So
nonstop.
Like I said, putting yourself out there definitely get you in rooms that you probably never thought you would be in, you know what I mean? And if you don't, because like again, everybody got their own story, everybody got their own background, and it's a gift, you know what I mean? So you got to use that to the best to your advantage, you know. So
facts.
So don't be quiet. Like I said, even when I told people at the mixer, I was like, you got to post your stuff, like. Post. If you got something to say, or if it's something that you've been thinking about, and you like, hey, this been on my mind lately, I just want to talk on it. Because again, you don't know who see it, who watching it, and then somebody gonna DM you and be like, hey, would you want to come speak at this, or would you want to come talk about this, or how can we work together? Like, you can't be quiet. Like,
and you can have 10 views and you don't know who those 10 are.
yeah, no, for sure.
One could be Oprah.
Come on now.
Accidental, but she might have still been there.
For sure. Just by you speaking up and saying something about something, you know what I mean? And they got an opportunity right there. Now it's up to you to take advantage of the opportunity or not, you know what I mean? But again, if you got something to talk about, or if you're doing something dope and you know you're dope, you know what I mean? Post, say what you need to say. And I'm pretty sure something gonna come from that. Like, even if you just reach one person, 2 people, like, still something gonna come from it, and people gonna be like, yeah, we like this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as long as you being you, though, don't try to pretend to be nobody else. Don't copy nobody else. Be you, and then, like I said, you're gonna see opportunities come for sure.
No, absolutely. And people can tell that these days because all they have to do is scroll.
All they gotta do is scroll.
They'll find a tweet or something that doesn't align.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to thank you so much for coming down to iHeart and chilling with me and talking with me and giving me all your business. I mean, I tried not to ask too much of your tea and all the sauces, but I did get some of it. I got a few dribbles.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
With that being said, let everybody, you can even look into that camera right there. Let them know, hey, follow me here. You get more information from me there, whatever.
Absolutely. You can follow me at key.frager on IG and TikTok. Definitely follow me because I'm almost close to 10K on TikTok. So I'm trying to reach that. You know what I mean? That's a little milestone I was trying to hit because I was like, once I get there, I could do something with it. I ain't going to say what I could do with it, but I'm just going to, it's some opportunities. I just needed that real quick.
That's part of the sauce y'all don't
get, but we
digress.
Can't get out of my way yet. But yeah, follow me on IG and TikTok.
Awesome. Well, shoot, you guys. Look, I hope that you had actually learned some good things from this interview with Key. It's not very often that I interview someone that works within marketing, let alone branding, and here we are. So we definitely got some good tea for you guys. So look, until next time, I want you guys to know that the mixer panel video is going to come out very, very soon. So that way you guys can get more information that Key ended up giving out. But until next time, you already know what I'm going to say. Have an amazing rest of your day. And of course, keep that energy high.